gentlemen, what a lovely crowd we've got here at the Knockhill stand, because we've got two superstars on stage. Can we have a nice big round of applause and a welcome to John McPhee and John McGuinness. So where do we start? We've got some lovely photographs that you're going to see scrolling through on the screen behind us. Some great ones of John McGuinness, MBE, which we need to say as well. John likes that. Tip of the hat towards the old MBE stuff there, mate.
Yeah, it's Morecambe Bell End.
And we haven't rehearsed that, by the way. That's quite... I've never thought that. Okay, Morecambe Bell End. John McGuinness, MBE, and John McPhee. Who knows, one day it may be MBE, but we've got to thank you for flying in, doing a fly-in visit from Andorra. John was meant to be testing in Spain, but the test unfortunately got cancelled for him, so this was a phone call on Friday, I think, that we had, and we managed to rustle up some sort of thing and make it happen.
Yeah, it's nice to be here. Thanks everyone for coming, first of all. Lovely to be here. Like Duncan says, it was a very last minute thing. I've not been able to be here in the last 4 or 5 years. It's always clashed with a race or a test or whatever, so yeah, nice to be back and where I come from and see lots of familiar faces.
Now you're also just back from Australia. You had a very, very successful opening couple of rounds on your triumph in the World Supersport Series. You must be delighted with where last year was. Last year was a difficult year on the Kawasaki for you. To come on the triumph, it's been a pretty good start to the year so far.
Yeah, I've been pretty happy. I mean, it's round one, obviously, with new bike, new team, new project completely. And I think it's hard to explain just how difficult it is jumping in with completely new faces and trying to build that relationship as well with new machinery. So I was happy, really happy. My teammate Jorge Navarro, obviously he's Moto2 podium man, he's won a couple of races, so he's really the benchmark, him and the other triumphs on the grid. And we left Australia as top triumph overall, and I managed to get the better of my teammate, so that's always a good start.
Yeah, it's always good to get one over the teammate, and continuity is a big thing there actually. John, you know all about continuity. You've been a Honda man for a long time, and you can 100% agree with what John's saying about jumping into someplace new isn't the easiest thing to do as a rider.
No, not at all. I mean, coming off the smaller, Moto3 bikes onto them big bikes, new surroundings, new tracks, new team, but it's difficult. Yeah, it's not easy. Racing isn't easy at all, but I've been sort of part of the Honda fixtures and fittings for years, and I've had some, going on about teammates, I've had some fantastic teammates, from Joey Dunlop to Michael Dunlop to all the modern guys, some of the old guys as well, but it's racing's not easy, that's for sure.
You did come from the Moto3 bike, and that's something we need to pick up on because it is a huge jump. Is the Moto3 bike something you miss? Do you miss being on that, or are you quite comfortable? And was it time to make that change onto something bigger?
Definitely takes time. Even now, if I have a little bit of time off and then I go back, the natural habits instantly kick in, and I'm trying to run loads of corner speed and roll through the corner, and it's definitely takes time to change. Actually, one of my first run-outs on a big bike, proper big bike, was at Knockhill, of all places, and John was there as well, and I remember trying to do my best to hold on to his wheel, not for very long, but just seeing the riding style and the lines and the way everything was happening was it was like changing my brain to opposites. I was taking the wrong line, the wrong entry point, trying to take too much corner speed, not opening the throttle. It's so different, but I'm starting to get there now, starting to understand it and slowly changing my style.
And there's a whole thing as well. You've come from the Grand Prix paddock where you had so many friends for so many years, but you've managed to land in the Superbike paddock where you've got both Mackenzie boys, and I know how close you are with Taylor and Taryn, and with Taylor coming on to help Taz this year, that must be almost a bit of a relief for you. You've got some really friendly faces, looks like it's kind of chilled out and enjoyable.
It's been absolutely great, honestly. It's 10 years, it's like a broken relationship that's got back together again. 10 years since we've been in the same paddock together, and obviously both went different paths and both done different things, but to be in the same paddock now, and last year was obviously not an easy year for me, but with Taz on the bike and the team he was with, it was a really difficult year for him. So I think it was nice that both of us went to the new championship at the same time, and we're kind of piggybacking off of each other. Sometimes I had people with me, sometimes he had people with him, but we were always there and he was always buying the coffees, so it was good.
Somebody else is buying the coffees. Now, I know we say you're a World Supersport racer, that's great, but more impressively, Grand Prix winner. I think that deserves a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Grand Prix winner, John McPhee, which is which is something everybody wants, you know, to have that accolade and to have the acceptance. I remember when you won your first Grand Prix, there's a social media thing with Valentino Rossi stopping and saying, John, you know, it makes it so special for you.
Yeah, it's amazing to look back on. Honestly, I get asked the question a lot. Probably something people will ask me today: do you miss Moto3? Do you miss the Grand Prix paddock? And yeah, in some ways I do. Absolutely, it's every rider's dream to be a Grand Prix and to step up the ranks. But at the same time, no, because I was there. It was 10 full seasons, 12 seasons on and off, and like I've got a different path now. I can see a clear future with Super Sport, with Superbike, and I enjoyed every single minute of Grand Prix, but I'm happy with the route I'm going and happy with what we've achieved over the years.
Well, I enjoyed watching you for many years. It was one of these things where you used to go straight to the Moto3 and go from the top. Rather than go from the bottom, I used to go from the top, just to let you know. Struthers went from the bottom of the pylon to the top. I always had faith in you. Now, there's a few pictures on the screen that we're going to try and pause on in just a second. It's when John was about to win his very first Grand Prix, I think. Czechoslovakia, Bruno. And there's a picture of you doing your best to not win that Grand Prix. If you can remember that, start talking us through exactly what happened, and Ian will hopefully pause the screen on the correct moment.
So it happened at the strangest of times. I'd been with some good teams. The year before I was on a factory Honda, and then it was like everything kind of came at the wrong time. I ended up jumping on a Peugeot, which hadn't won a Grand Prix since 1906. So I didn't fancy my chances that much, although I was giving it my best shot. We kind of knew from the start of the year, okay, we're really down in power. Get to Bruno circuit and it's literally got a hill called Horsepower Hill, so I was like, okay, we're screwed. We're not got much chance here. But then it started to rain. Saturday night came down quite heavy. Morning warm-up, I remember seeing my pit board in first lap of warm-up, and in the rain you kind of feel your way in and start to build up, and first lap we were like P1 plus 4.2, and I was like, fucking hell, the other guys aren't really pushing today, or something's going on. So I knew we had a good chance. Then the race started. It was myself and Brad Binder. Brad was setting a really good pace, and we were kind of slowly pulling a gap. And I think it was 10 or 12 laps to go. Brad high-sided in front of me.
Pause. Ian Struthers, there we go, yeah. So was this the last lap?
So this was about 3 laps to go.
3 laps to go.
So as soon as the whole race, I wasn't looking at my pit board. I was just...
You had one job, 3 laps in the lead, just stroke it home.
Well, I was just like I say, I was following Brad, and when he crashed out, I looked at my pit board for the first time and seen, right, there's like, whatever it is, 10 laps to go, plus 1, plus 1.1, plus 1.2, and I was like, I'm really pushing here, and I'm not really gapping them. Then I had this big moment with about 3 laps to go, and I expected them to come all past me, and I looked over my shoulder and there was nobody there, and the rain was that heavy, the water was coming down the inside of my visor, and I didn't realise the pit board was actually saying plus 10, plus 11, plus 12, so if I'd crashed out with a 12-second lead, I literally wouldn't have forgiven myself.
Yeah, the WhatsApp from me would have been delightful for that evening. I'd say I wouldn't have been congratulating anyone. But John McGuinness, that goes back to what you were saying yesterday when we were talking about pit boards. Your pit boards in the TT is so important to you. You know, if you get your water, not that you race in the TT in the rain anymore, thankfully, but could you imagine getting that type of thing happening to you, reading the pit board wrong? Has that happened to you on Isle of Man TT actually?
I've had all sorts of different strange ones when I've been struggling in the race. I've had P45s, I've had, if I'm not going fast enough, but going back to what you said, it is super important because you don't really get your first indication of where you are in the race for 17 miles really, so you're pushing and pushing and pushing, and you come out of Ballath Bridge through the village, and when you see the board, if it says P1, even if it's plus 0.5, it's always a great feeling to, you know, you're in touch, you know, you just keep pushing and pushing and trying. But when you read it and it's you maybe P6 minus 4 and you think I've thrown everything into it, sometimes it's not your day around there, so you have to roll over, if that makes sense, and it's hard to bring that back, you know. I mean, but you've not got to panic, you've got to keep going, keep riding your pace and your rhythm, and then you're always thinking, well, pit stop 1, anything can happen in the pits, you know. We always knew, especially on this bike here at the front, we was always better in the fuel. We weren't better in the fuel stops. We were always using less fuel than all the other riders. So it always looked like we had a great pit stop, but we just put less fuel in the bike. So and I was always any of my other teammates were a bit more aggressive on the throttle. So they were using sort of 2 litres a lap more than I was as well. So and then it's gravity fed in, so every litre that goes in the bike is 1.2 seconds, so I was always gaining sort of 5 seconds in the pits through being a little bit smoother on the throttle. But
this is one of your favourite bikes. I mean, this is you've just told us yesterday, a labour of love, a couple of years to put this bike back together. It's your 2015 Poker Stars Senior TT race winning bike, the lap which you took. You say it's your finest moment. I mean, I think you've had plenty of fine moments since then, but it's a lovely bike and it means so much to you.
It is, yeah. I mean, I've got about 80 bikes in my bike collection, much to the disgust of the wife. She's getting a bit emotional about it now, but when you've got 80 bikes in your garage and you stick another one in, you can't really tell. It just looks like a mass load of bikes, so I could just about get away with it. But that's the latest one in the collection, and I did a little deal with Honda when I re-signed my deal back in 2022 with, I went to Norton for a while, which was disastrous, and then I did a deal with Kawasaki that never happened, and it was weird how things are meant to happen in racing. I'm a believer of that, you know, that in 2022 the new Fireblade was 30 years old, I turned 50 years old, it was my 100th start, I got an MBE, new set of teeth, everything was absolutely flying, and I got them semi-fixed, my teeth.
Oh, teeth.
So in the deal, when I re-signed my deal back with Honda, I got that bike thrown in on the deal. So it's a nice thing to have in my collection.
I like the bike, and I like the teeth as well. But
They're better. They are better.
Let's see John McPhee's $1 million smile. Come on, give us it. There we go.
He's got the Andorra smile in it.
He has got the Andorra. They've all got that, haven't they? Like Ruben's house sorts them out with the dentist over there. TT, what do you think? Is it something, I mean, you're very much not there in your career yet. Is it something that excites you? Is it something that you like the thought of? Or are you just quite happy to watch it and know the guys that do it?
I think if the TT doesn't excite you, there's something wrong with you, is my opinion. There's these...
Aye.
Can I... sorry, crash the party. Just trying to raise a bit of sponsorship for Motor One.
Does anybody know this guy? Sorry, what are you?
My name's Mark. I've got a son. He's just about to go into Motor One, so I've just been doing my rounds, just trying to get a bit of sponsorship together. Not quite.
You know I'm doing a live interview in front of an audience.
Yeah, can I reckon? I know this guy. I've seen him. John McPhee. Is that?
John McPhee.
Yeah, he's in mini motors.
I make them look big because I'm so tall.
Yeah, mini motors. But I know, you're making a bit of progress. What are you doing now, John?
Still.
The shopping bike championship. Is that the shopping bike?
World Supersport.
Aye. Do you have to take that basket off, or does it stay on?
You know this is a live, but we've got two legends on stage.
Yeah, well, I just thought it's a good opportunity, you kind of got it.
What's that, your ankle?
a wee bit of problem with Champignones. He was avoiding the training a bit, so I told him, I'm going to shoot your dog if you don't dig in, and I've got a tag. Tag, yeah. The dog, it didn't end well for the dog.
I think we need security here, actually, ladies and gentlemen.
I want to ask this man, he's on the roads. Does he have to stop at the traffic lights?
Get off.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think that's Mark. And it's John McPhee. McPhee, actually. It's certainly not the other one he said.
I've never heard that one before. He started something there, hasn't he?
Wait till Eurosport get hold of that. What's Steve Day's number again? Or not Steve Day, Greg Haynes. But I believe that's Champignones Dad, but we'll come back to that maybe later on.
Is he any good? Champignones.
I don't know.
Any good?
He's going to Motor One. Nobody else is, but he's going to Motor One. So, where were we, John?
Yeah, so go back to the TT.
Thank God you could remember. I'd lost it.
Obviously, utmost respect for these guys, every one of them, for what they do. One thing I've never done, I've never been. So if you know anyone that can sort me out some tickets, it would be great.
You've never been?
You've never been?
I've never been. This year it's on the list.
It's a must. Come on.
It is. Let's have a pause there for a minute. Hands up. Who's been to the Isleman TT here?
Oh, not many.
Okay.
Not many.
Who watches it on TT Live?
So
it's not really an excuse, you know.
Well, no, there is. It's clashed every single year for the last 12 years of Grand Prix. It's clashed every time. So and not being able to get tickets because nobody will sort me out.
You don't really need tickets for the TT.
I'll look after you.
Oh, you heard that here. It'll come with an invoice, but you heard that here, okay?
But in terms of riding, my dad's actually stood down there, so everyone can give him the blame. When I was
Come on, Al, give us a wave.
when I was 12 years old and started getting into road racing, my mum and dad said to me, we'll try our best to help you, to get you kind of get the ball rolling and see if you can get racing, but 2 conditions, and everyone finds the first one quite funny. I don't have a licence for the road to start with, I've never done my bike test, and the second one was never to do a road race. That was their 2 conditions, so I've stuck to my end of the deal until now. As soon as he croaks it, I'll be getting an entry, but...
Northwest, straight away.
See, I just found out last week that Pedro Acosta is a big TT fan. He's going to be coming across this year, so that's interesting. He was doing an interview last week. Did you see it? He was talking about like the MotoGP is obviously the pinnacle, and the only really thing above that's the Isle of Man. I was like, wow.
I watched that. I had to rewind it because I thought, did you see that he's the man? And I thought, is he seen the Isle of Man? And he was, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, sensational. Will you have him in your tent, John? Will you look after him?
I will look after him. He's a Red Bull athlete, so it might be difficult. I'm on the monster side, but let's get him across there. He's positive for the TT, and he understands it. We've had a few GP riders over there that have been blown away by it, and they're so powerful now, these GP riders. And if they came to the TT and said it's crazy, it's stupid, what they're doing this for, like, it could really damage the reputation of it. But when Rossi came in 09, he loved it. Lorenzo was a bit, he was a bit gay, but I would like to say that these days.
I was just going to say, don't bring Alicia Spagro, it'll be like game over. He'd be looking at all the run-off areas and saying, that's not long enough, and that gravel trump's not big enough.
Yeah, he's painful, isn't he? He's painful, Alicia, but Cal Crutchlow, he loves it. He's had a bomb round doing the parade, so it's good. It's amazing who turns up at the TT. We've had some big hitters come, some F1 guys, Toto Wolff, Mark Webber, a few drivers and things, and they all come in under the radar. That Princess Beatrice was there last year, and the Crown Prince of Bahrain was there, and so it's everybody's intrigued by it. Maybe they're not a massive fan of it, but when they get there, you can't be not blown away by it.
I think Toto Wolff and Susie Wolff, who's another Oban native, Susie from up that neck of the woods as well. They were also seeing a couple of local riders who were across there doing it. But John McGuinness is also very good friends with the doctor, ladies and gentlemen, just to let you know. Valentino Rossi, John McGuinness go way back. John was you were over at the ranch with the two knee boys having a good bit of fun doing the flat tracking.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I've been invited a few times to go, but it sort of always clashed with something I've done, and I broke my leg and I couldn't do it, and I'm getting old, and them young kids are fly around on those flat trackers like you wouldn't believe. So I took the 2 knee twins, and I just needed, Valentino wanted me to run the team and make sure that I brought a couple of safe riders, and I thought last thing I need is some young lunatic to run straight into the side of Valentino and break his leg. So them 2 guys did a really good job, solid job, and they are our best flat track riders in the country, and they were 4 seconds slower than Valentino and Marini, and so them boys they are so fast at it. And weirdly I ended up in the changing room with Valentino as well, and he dropped his pants, and I have actually seen his penis. It's weird. It is. It's rather weird. I've seen a few in my time. That one was quite different.
Go back to that gay comment a minute ago.
Don't describe it like you did last night, please.
I can't go into full details. It didn't look like mine anyway. Not that mine's anything special, but it was a bit odd.
Bet you never thought you were going to hear that today, ladies and gentlemen. Now we've got a
good guy though, 44 years old, and I watched him do his thing on that flat track bike, and all the other stuff he's done, cars, bikes, tested F1 cars, it's just the bloke's a magician, and it was fantastic to watch.
And you're getting voice notes from him. John! It's pretty cool to hear. If you come over, I'd be happy. Right, we've got a video we're going to show on screen now. This is, I want you to spin around and have a look at this, John. I don't know if there's commentary or not. If there's not, we can talk over the top of it, and you can maybe talk us through the last little bit of this race. Travers looks like he's given us 2 laps to go now. This was when they were starting to say that you're too old for Moto3. So you had a point to prove here. Look, he's a little bit off the back of your teammate there, but you'll remember this race pretty well.
Yeah, this is an emotional one for me. It's the last race, or last Grand Prix win I had, obviously. and I was in a bit of a battle that weekend. I came from P21 or P22 in the grid. I'd been kind of struggling all weekend. I'm not sure if anyone's seen the video that surfaced on social media of the crew chief kicking another British rider across the paddock. So he was currently my crew chief at that time, and although our normal relationship was good, our working relationship certainly wasn't. And after qualifying, I'd kind of said, right, enough's enough, I'm not riding the bike tomorrow unless we go this direction. And thankfully I kind of put a setting in, put my balls on the line, and actually started to stress about it in case it didn't work out.
Because you'd had brake failure and it had been a really difficult weekend, hadn't it?
Yeah, it had been difficult. I had brake failure twice into turn one both times, and it's not somewhere you want to have brake failure. It's from sixth gear back to first gear, and there really isn't much run off there. So this race, around here I started to realise I was getting close enough to maybe touch a podium. I have a little go here, I pass Masia here into turn 10, but then he manages to get the inside line coming out and squeezes me back to P5. So these guys were just dicing here and messing each other up, and you come up to turn, I think it's turn 13, you'll see it in a minute, going onto the back straight. Naturally it's a really late apex, so these guys are all basically cutting each other's noses off, and I thought maybe I can try and get one, maybe two here to line it up and hold it tight. But as they all start to drift wide, I'm like, I'm just going to park it at the apex. So that's
a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that for a manoeuvre.
It's actually a second gear corner, and right before I cracked the gas in second, I thought, no, I'm going to take first. So I clicked first and just backed them up that little bit more, and that was why I was able to get the drive onto the straight there.
Last corner, teammate goes up the inside, but you knew he was going to go wide at that point, so it was looking odds on for the win.
Yeah, that was one of the moments I was either taking my teammate down or I was winning the race, and I wasn't all that bothered either way in that corner, to be honest.
And the celebration here, it's like you almost get blown off the back of the thing and it starts to weave.
Bit of a tank slapper with all the power there.
Last Grand Prix victory. Let's hear it for John McPhee, ladies and gentlemen. That was it had been.
It was. I have to chip in. It was. I was on the edge of my sofa. We were all watching it, and me and the family was like, John, and it was just so epic to see. But when you're in that situation, did you have a plan? No, I know you talked about it, but was it, you just said there I was going to take my teammate down, so was it the truth, shit or bust, or?
Yeah, no, it was literally come Saturday night, when I'd said there that I was ready to walk away, and finally we kind of went in a direction I wanted to go with the bike, and I was like, well, if I don't perform now I look like a complete idiot. So I was either going to have a good race or I was going to end up in the gravel trap. That was the kind of mentality I went into that race with, and thankfully it paid off. It wouldn't always pay off 100%, not like that, but that day it did.
I think the whole nation was sat on that bike with you, were they? It's amazing, fantastic to say, like say, if you never get that chance again.
Edge of the seat stuff for
you've got the trophy.
Edge of the seat stuff for us all, and a fabulous, and it was what the commentators were saying after, they said people have been saying you're too old, and we could see the emotion coming out there, because it was almost a relief. Because as a one group with the team, you had a disaster up towards that point, you were going to walk away from it, and then you walk away with the victory, the greatest prize of all.
Yeah, it was a tough year, that one as well, because it was my last year at Grand Prix. I knew it was my last year, and I think after round 2 or round 3 I crashed in a training accident, I broke my back. I'd done 4 vertebrae and tried to come back too soon, as every rider does. Ended up missing like 3 races in a row, so I knew like championships out the window. So I was like, let's go back and just try and have a really solid end to the season. And I struggled quite a bit. I lost quite a little bit of mobility and was struggling to move on the bike. So it was like, getting to that point, I'm like, I've not really had any podiums this year. I need to try and get something under my belt. And thankfully, the last 3-4 rounds we really stepped up and managed to finish the year in a high.
Is that a fresh arm pump scar you've got on your arm there? Is that?
It is, yeah. That was end of last year. I kept blaming Alpine Stars. I was like, my leathers are too tight, and
you can't blame Alpine Stars for McGuinness is here.
No, I wear Alpine Stars as well. So kept blaming them, and they were making them bigger and bigger and bigger, to the point where you could literally take the elbow and like twist it 180 degrees round. I was like, okay, maybe it's me that's the issue here. I also blame it on the minimum weight rule. I'm not being a Bautista, but the minimum weight rule is high. I had 17 kilos of lead in my bike last year, so over winter I put a lot of weight on, believe it or not. I put like 5 or 6 kilos on, and
where?
I can't show you on stage.
Oh, is it like the Valentino story? Right, okay.
I can give you 17 kilos, 3 if you want.
So yeah, I've never ever suffered with arm pump riding, motocross, supermoto, anything, but doesn't look like it, but I put a little bit of muscle on and started to get arm pump. So yeah, December last year I got the operation, and so far so good. I've had no issues at all.
What about you, John? Have you ever had the arm pump operation? Have you been through that? I know obviously we know all about the leg operations, but arms, ever an issue for you?
I don't ride fast enough to get arm pump. I used to get it a little bit a few years ago. Then there was like a bit of an old Indian trick, you used to take aspirin, sting your blood down a little bit, but that's never good if you're on the side of the track bleeding. No, I think to be able to ride through it. I get a little bit of TT, especially the first 2 nights, because you're holding on so tight and you're gritting your teeth and you're not breathing, and then you do get a bit of arm pump, and after that you sort of get into a rhythm, and then it all starts muscle memory and things like that, and it settles down a bit. But no, I've never, a little bit to start with, the early days, but no, I don't remember it.
Hey, what's next for John McPhee then? We saw you at Rivalry Island. When will we next see you on the bike? And obviously after that round, which was fabulous for you, you must be looking forward to getting back on the team of the bike.
Yeah, I really am. I'm in a good place at the minute with a good team around me, good people around me. They've actually built a bit of it's a Kent-based team, and they built a bit of an English or British kind of community around me. So I've got an English crew chief, Simon Green. I've got an English mechanic, Dale Extant, his dad is the owner of former Kawasaki. So got a really good little package on the team. Obviously a British brand riding for Triumph. So it's really exciting year. Round 1 not many people knew, but we were on last year's bike, so the new 2024 bike hadn't arrived quite in time, and it's not a big difference in all honesty, but we did some of the new updated materials, so I was really happy leaving round 1 thinking, okay, we're within touching distance. If we can get a couple of small tweaks and just improve our overall performance, we can be in for a realistic shout of fighting for wins and podiums. So we are out of meant to be testing today on the 2024 bike, and it wasn't quite ready. The team said it's more important to be in the workshop on the dyno, getting everything absolutely 100% perfect, so we can turn up next weekend in Barcelona, FP1, and hopefully everything all goes smoothly. So we have round 2 in Barcelona next week, and then that kind of starts to roll through summer. We've got, I think it's every 2 or 3 weeks we've got a race, so all looking good.
And good Barcelona is something you know from the Grand Prix scene as well, because World Superbike do use some different circuits that you've had to learn over last year and come back again. So Barcelona, what you're happy with?
Yeah, it is and it isn't. It's a place I'm happy with, of course, but on that circuit, I think doing 10 years of the same tracks and similar size bikes, last year when we went to a new track like Magic Doors or places I'd never been to before, it was actually easier to learn because we didn't have the muscle memory of this is where you need to go, and this is your set-in point, and this is your braking point, and it didn't come natural. So naturally I jumped in on a bigger bike and just learned it from a bigger bike point of view. But I've done so many laps around some of the tracks on smaller bikes, it's difficult then basically riding different lines and hitting different bumps and different tip-in points. But yeah, 1 year in now, and I've got that experience, and I'm hoping that'll carry on through, and I'll just switch straight to bigger bike stuff rather than Moto 3 style.
Yeah, we can't wait to see that. And John McGuinness, yesterday you gave us a little bit of a scoop about the Ironman TT for 2024 for you. You told us what number we're going to see you starting from and your teammates, and how much you're looking forward to getting back onto the road and away around that famous Isle of Man. Give us a shout, what number are we going to see you on this year?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go back to number 1. I like number 1. You always feel like the daddy at number 1. And even if you're not fast enough, at least you get on the television, don't you? You always get a bit in the first bike away, but I like it. I just like clear tracks. I like to be on my own at the TT. I don't like loads of people around me. It's a time trial, as you know. I think Dean Harrison will be away at number 2, so there'll be the 2 factory Hondas 1-2 away, which will be really, really cool and a real nice sight to see. And Dean's going to be going past me at some point. Hopefully it's not too soon, and I can hopefully learn a little bit of Dean. He's going really well. He's in a real good place. He's Dean, fit, strong. He's really easy to work with. He's a new teammate to me, but I really enjoy working with him.
Are you still learning at the TT?
Is that still happening? Yeah, I've been watching Peter Hickman's on board, his 136.4 mile an hour lap, and
just, if I can nick a bit here, nick a bit there, I can get a little bit closer. There's no way I can go around 136 anymore. But if I can match what I did on this bike, 132 and a half, 133, that'd be in a real happy sweet place. But you know, them guys showing me, you know, they show me now. And I'm not too old, I'm not too proud, I don't mind, you know, them, if I can learn something from them guys, he's in a gear higher in a couple of places than I am on the track, so, you know, he's carrying a bit more speed. They're slightly pushing a bit harder, maybe. I've got my limit now, and that's where I am. I'm not going to put that pressure on the shoulders like I used to do. I used to go to the TT and I wasn't winning, I was sunken. I really, really wanted to win, but the last 2 years I was fifth in the first Superbike race in 2022, 6th and 7th and 8th, and like, for me, the TT is a time trial. The winner gets the winner's prize, and then if you're a certain percentage behind the winner, you get a silver replica, a silver trophy. Then a certain percentage behind that, you get a bronze one, and after that you get a finisher's award. So in my head, if I'm in silver replica territory, I'm still going pretty fast. So you know, that for me is great. And I can get off the bike and hold my head up high and walk away. And, you know, and some guys are coming nipping at my heels, some of them other guys, I can have my bike, there you go mate, you go, but, you know, they're not fast enough just yet. You're still the guy, you're going up for number one, and if you're laughing at 152, if you hit a wheeler, it's going over 6 laps, anything can happen. It's to be seen, you've got to look after, so maybe that little 152 is maybe safer on the bike. We do it 2 o'clock today, we're doing a lap at the TT. John stands over there, and I stand here, and he talks us round the lap. And he actually turns around and said, if there's any engine burners in the crowd, you'll be wincing just now as he goes up the mountain and he goes down 2 gears and it revs to the moon. It's really striking there.
Yeah, it was 1 gear at the end of the mountain, mile back to 5th, and I just changed down a little bit too early, and I was just like, whoa, and I was like, I give it a little pat on the tank. I was like, oh, sorry about that, because I do speed to my bike when I go around there. You got all so many moving parts in the engine going so fast, you think, it's unbelievable. You get time to hear it, you know, you get time to hear it drawing air through the airbox and all the noise of the engine, and you think, especially the 600 down there, it's insane how much punishment they get, but yeah, I'm in a good place, I'm in a really happy place, you know. I look at myself in the mirror and think, stupid old git, you know, and you should pack in, but I still love putting the helmet on, I still love riding, and you know, the new 2024 5-blade, I did 1,700 miles on it last week in Portimao with all the journalists. And the new 5-blade is a weapon. It's an absolute incredible road bike. And I thought they couldn't make it any better. It looks the same, but when I rode it, it split throttles and, you know, they changed the crankshaft, they changed all the parts in the engine, the frames, a little more flex in the frame, little things like that, they excite me. And they brought it round and round, and I smiled. It made me smile because when you open the throttle, there's like a split throttle, so it sounds like a world superbike. It actually makes you feel like a world superbike rider. So I'm looking forward to the challenge ahead, and I'm not, you know, I haven't got that weight on my shoulders. I can help Dean. I've got another teammate, Nathan as well, Nathan Harrison, young kid. I mean, I'm trying to rein him in. You know, he worries me. He's 25 years old and he wants it too soon. And it's pretty scary to try and slow him down, if you like, but.
Because he's a young landsman, so it means so much to him, doesn't it, coming from Ireland?
He's in that vulnerable spot. You know, he's done 1 TT, 2 Manx Grand Prix, and he's been around 128, which is incredible, but you can't go 128, 135. It's impossible to do that. So you've got to be patient, you know. I feel for them Manx kids, you know, like Connor had his go, then he didn't quite pull the win off, and then you had young Dan Dean, who eventually got killed at TT. So much better off, you know. All the Manx are wanting this fairy tale Manx win, and it doesn't happen, it takes time, so you know, it does worry me, but I can only whisper in his ear and hopefully he gets through it. So.
Well, if he doesn't listen to you, John, he's not going to listen to anybody, but I'm pretty sure he will. He's a smart, good up guy, and he's got you in his corner for sure, but I know you're going to be somewhere before the TT. We've actually got you Knockhill for a Neil McKenzie track experience. There's a plug for you guys. On track, John McGuinness, Taylor McKenzie, Neil McKenzie, a full day's instruction, breakfast, lunch, the work thrown in, and even have John McGuinness in the pit lane, and he loves instructing. It's something, you know, he doesn't hide in the garage and not speak to anybody. You're always on track, you're always tailing people around, or helping them with their bikes. It's something that you really enjoy doing for us up at Knockhill. you're absolutely right. I really do enjoy coming up north. And, you know, I get on the motorway and drive north. It's a beautiful countryside, all the way up to Knockhill. People say good morning to you, hello. This is really important. Different gravy up here, you know. Different standards, but then they all come up to enjoy themselves, and nobody judges anybody. You've got people, I love it when somebody turns up and the wife in the street has never been on a track before, then they go home with a bit of a spring in the step and they've enjoyed it. For me, you know, I get a lot of enjoyment out of that. I don't need to, I could stay at home if I needed to, but it's a day out, and a day out with you guys at Knockhill. I just think it's a super little track, quite fast, quite technical, it's got every single piece of track you can ever imagine, and you know, I'll be there, and we just talk bikes, because I'm still a bike enthusiast, so it's great. Talk bikes and have some fun at the track, and John McPhee up there as well, you know, it's where you started your big, look at that, perfect timing, that's John McPhee with an orange bib, on track, 2007.
End of 2007, yeah.
Wow.
First year.
You were following the steps of your fast uncle Mark. I've got to say that. I don't know where that's gone, but your uncle Mark was a really good super stock rider and kind of Britain and very much Scotland. So was that where the kind of wanting to race come from?
I guess so, yeah. When my uncle started really late, he raced Scottish Championship, and yeah, as a kid, obviously my dad went along to watch him. I ended up being taken around the paddock with a load of other kids, and that fight you seen there, not that one, the one with the orange bib on. It was actually Scott Young. I don't know if you remember Scott. Scott Ben Young was a year older than me, so he had started racing the year before me, and then Mike was sat there in the stand for sale, and I was like, Dad, we need it. So that was when it all kicked off from. Yeah, it was just something that I had a passion for and wanted to do, and yeah, that was where I started my apprenticeship with racing around Knockhill.
Yeah, Ben Young, his son Ben Young, Canadian Superbike, he was just competing at the Daytona 200 last weekend, so it's great to see they're still very much involved. If you want to get on track with John McGuinness, Taylor McKenzie, who knows, John McPhee making a appearance for the course of the year, the guys in the Knockhill tapes and sorting out. If you've never been on track before, hands up, do we have any bikers who have been on track and done an experience at Knockhill? Not a lot. Is there anybody out there who fancies having a shot at it? After this, speak to the guys. Get inside the tent. There'll be a very special deal only at the show, because we want to get more people to feel what we've had on track. It's so much fun to ride a bike, but to do it with these guys, to get the lunch going and breakfast even better.
I love that square sausage you have up there as well.
You do, don't you?
Square sausage in the breakfast. Wow.
Okay.
And it's free.
You have pure beer them as well. That's TT training. Born sausage gold. But our shop is across here, guys. We've got merchandise. We want to look as good as me. If you want the Knockhill book, has anybody seen this? You know we've got this very special Knockhill book here. 254 pages of 50 years of Knockhill. Now the pictures in here have been painstakingly found and put together, because it's very difficult to get an image that's not a digital image into digital image form. Trust me. So that is a book that we put for the 50th anniversary. If anybody fancies that, you can get that across here. You get a free book if you buy a season pass, but it's a coffee table book. John's signing them, and the author's signing them. We'd love to see as many people taking away a little piece of Knockhill, because we're only 50 once, aren't we, John? And that's what we want everybody to take away, some of Knockhill's memorabilia. And get yourself on track as well. Take your VSP tickets, we've got everything here for you. But I suppose we really are lucky, because John McPhee and John McGuinness, two legends of the sport, we wish you both the best of luck this year in racing. Thank you very much for coming all the way from Andorra, all the way over here for a day before you head, because you're about to be a dad soon as well.
Yeah, I'm my wife Lauren, she's about a week and Tuesday she's due, so 9 days out now, so I leave, I'm back in Barcelona next weekend, racing there. I can't leave the track from Wednesday to Sunday, so Sunday night I've got a flight straight back to Glasgow. And hoping I'm going to be there for the birth, but yeah, exciting times for us.
Okay, I want you to stay here now. We're going to interview somebody down here. Can I come down with a microphone and somebody speak? Right?
That's listen. Thank you very much. Sleepless night, can't wait.
Right then. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the man who... Come across here, Gary. Come across here, good. This is Garry Stagg, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the Knockhill commentary box is named the Garry Stagg Commentary Tower, and it's all because of this man that he got me involved in commentary, but he has commentated on both these guys, John McPhee in the very early days, and also John McGuinness. Gary, first of all, how are you, mate? It's good to see you.
I'm very, very good, Duncan Vincent. It's good to be here.
do it across the far side of the hall with our own mates before we got professional company to do it with you. They were fun days for us, weren't they? They were good fun, actually, a good laugh, and it was sometimes a little stressful, especially on Friday night when all the shit hit the fan, but after that it was good. We done a thing for an airbag suit one time, right? And Garry Stagg got the airbag suit put on him, and he said, now when it blows up, hit me with a baseball bat. I've never enjoyed a minute of the bike show so much as that, but as the face when it went off, Garry, it looked actually more sore than when I hit you. I have to say that it was a great relief, and I was wearing one the last time I was on a bike, but it didn't have my leg. Didn't have my leg, Garry, but it did save your life. Guys, can we give a nice big round of applause for Garry Stagg, the man behind Knockhill FM, that was 87.7 and transitioning into 93.7 FM. Thank you. Just caught Garry there, that's fabulous. And here we come back up on stage. So thank you very much for staying for so long. I know we've kept you guys for just over half an hour now. But as you said here, thanks for coming, guys. Look forward to Sleepless Nights. You'll have big bags like myself and John and Rice. Good enough for McPhee. And I'm very sorry about that lunatic that came up on stage the other one. I don't know who that was, but thankfully she got rid of him.
He seems to appear in the World Superbike paddock every time I go to buy coffee. He's on my shoulder.
Yeah.
He claims on social media, if you've seen it today, he claims I sell over $5, but he has not bought a single coffee this year yet.
I like the name actually. I think that's going to stick. Ladies and gentlemen, John McPhee and John McGuinness.